sometimes people try to take action, but they're focusing on the lack and then take action. Therefore, the intention of the action becomes lack energy. Welcome to Satori Mindset Podcast. My name is Yuki Yoshii, and this is your time, your moment to reflect on yourself, your life, and to integrate your journey to feel aligned, and to ultimately make the awakened version of you a default mode. So let's begin. So last month I was doing a workshop called Soul Purpose Ascension workshop. And on day 2, I focused on the topic of desire and creation. And I am feeling called to share that topic in this video today and to really highlight what we need to focus on. So in the spiritual aspect and the conscious manifestation conversation, we talk about everything is already created in the spiritual plane. And what does that mean, right? So we live in this 3D physical world, material world, 5 sensory world, and we live in this sort of space-time reality dimension of having and doing, right? So you have your body, you have your home, you have your vehicle, probably you have your work, whatever, you have your relationship, all the having stuff. And then you have your body that you can move to do things, to go somewhere or to take action, right? So because there's a space in this realm, there is having and doing. Now, when we understand that the seed of the manifestation, the formation of the physical comes from the spiritual plane, and the mind is a bridge that bridges the gap between the two realms, now everything is already created in the spiritual plane, right? So if you desire something, it means that the potentiality of that formation exists already spiritually. Now, that doesn't mean that because in the spiritual plane, there's not any material stuff, right? That's why there's a distinction between the material, physical, and the spiritual. It doesn't mean that, let's say, if you have a desire and if you want to accomplish something in the physical realm, that thing, that image, that having and doing exists in the spiritual plane, because there's no having and doing in that space, right? But the potentiality, the seed of that, the unmanifested of the manifestation already exists, because nothing is missing in the spiritual plane. It's the realm of the absolute, and it's complete already, and it's perfectly perfect, right? So then why do we desire? Well, we desire to do something. What is desire though, right? Desire is something that allows us to feel good and expansive when we are experiencing it. That's an interesting definition, right? It's like a reverse definition, right? Desire is something that when you experience it, you feel good and expansive. That's why you desire it. Yeah. That feeling of expansion, a feeling of goodness is where we come from. So we are here to move that energy to experience in the physical realm. Now, one thing that I want to focus on in this video, which is something that I focus on day 2 of the Soul Purpose Ascension workshop, is to understand what we are creating. Yeah. Now, if you understand the characteristics of the subconscious mind, your subconscious mind cannot differentiate what's real, physically real in the 3D physical world versus what you imagine in your mind and when you feel that, right? The brain, your body, your subconscious mind cannot differentiate the two. So the molecules inside of the body begins vibrating as if you are actually obtaining and having and doing. Yeah. So that is what we are creating. So we wanna, and then I think this practice is very effective because many people want to have a desire of manifesting in the 3D physical world, and they get discouraged by not seeing the manifestation. And then that allows people to focus on the lack. And then when you focus on the lack, because you're not vibrating in the having, you start operating in the lack energy, right? So it's completely useful and effective to fully remove the 5 sensory physical world and decide that what we are actually creating is the feeling and energetics in what I call the 4th dimensional psycho-emotional plane. So let's say if you have a desire, let's think of whatever that you desire that you want to do or have. Yeah. And you might be expecting that to be manifested in the physical world. Yeah. And I'm asking you to forget about it because you're not forgetting about it, you get attached to it. And because you get attached to it, you start focusing on a lack thereof. And because you're focusing on a lack thereof, you end up not manifesting. So it doesn't worth focusing on it, right? So let's focus on the inside instead, because if you focus on the inside energetics, right, your thoughts and the image that you're entertaining all the time, and you're feeling bath that you are taking every single day, if you focus on that, there's no possibility of experiencing the lack. Why? Because you can choose to imagine and feel whatever you want to feel, regardless of the circumstance, right? And the circumstance, when you are seeing the evidence of sight in the physical world, the manifestation, materialization of your desire, something is coming towards you, right? So there's lack of control in that, right? But the manifestation of the energetics, you're in full control of it. This is so good. If everybody can focus on this, everybody can manifest much, much faster and with at ease, right? Because if you are in full control of the energetic inside, you can change your focus, you can deliberately visualize and feel that having and doing using the power of imagination, and you can alter the energetic frequency to feel as if you are already experiencing it. That is what we are creating. So the invitation is, when we say desire and creation, to stop assuming that we're creating in the outside, but all your energy needs to go in the inside creation of the energetics. We're not creating the materialization. We're creating the energetics using our imagination, thoughts, and a feeling inside of the body. And then you want to consistently stay in the creation of the energetics of the fulfillment of the desire, and everything else, you will let God take care of it. So that is the distinction, right? You don't hang on to the last piece, right? And because you're so inspired and being in the energy, you will find yourself being in motion, right? So don't worry about action. You will be taking action if you are in that energy. Yeah. The action is what makes us open to receive, because you are circulating that energy to give and circle back and to receive it. And sometimes people try to take action, but they're focusing on the lack and then take action. Therefore, the intention of the action becomes lack energy. But if you are in the fulfillment of the desire energetic inside, and if you focus on creating that, you will find yourself in motion with inspired action, and all the doors begin opening through you and for you. Thank you for listening to the podcast. A message I want you to take with you is this: you have a power to choose how you see yourself and the world at any given moment. So stay connected to that wisdom.